One of the things that I do intentionally to predator-proof my kids or raise them with traits that repel predators, dangerous people, and dangerous situations is to make sure that they stay connected to their gut instinct. And that sounds easier said than done, but there's a lot of things that parents inadvertently do that disconnects the child from that gut instinct. One of those things is, when every single time that your child does not want to kiss or hug a family member and you make them, you are not honoring their body's alarm system, right? Like there is a reason why they don't feel close enough to that person to express that kind of affection with them. And I know that culturally speaking, it can be seen as rude. I'm Filipino, like we hug and kiss everybody, all the titas and titos and all of that. But consider doing something like having them fist bump or, say hi or wave, because from 0 to 5, especially, like they are not very verbal. And so it's up to you to accurately articulate what it is that they're feeling in their body. And for you to bypass through all of those things, you are going to be teaching them how to ignore all of those red flags. They might not be, appropriate, as in the person in front of them might be a safe person, but they're not, for whatever reason, they don't feel safe with that person yet. Maybe it's somebody that they see once a year, and you as an adult know that that person is safe, but the child who has only seen this person once or twice a year, or maybe that person is not very nice to them, right? Just because we're family doesn't mean that we're nice to each other. And so, they have a valid reason for having this feeling in their body that is uncomfortable with hugging or kissing that person. You already know what the statistics are. Most predators are not randos from the street. And if they are randos, they cultivate a relationship specifically to groom that person, that child, their victim, into feeling close and safe with them. So it is especially important, especially around people who are supposed to be safe, on paper, family, close friends, all of that, that they feel comfortable honoring their physical body boundaries and honoring, whatever it is that they're feeling in their gut in front of you with your support, and able to voice their no, the consent and all of that. But that first starts in the gut, right? That feeling that they have that they just really, they don't want to hug this person. Let them not hug that person. You, as the adult, take the brunt of the, whatever cultural faux pas, like getting in trouble with your elders and all of that, and just deal with it. You're the adult. Another thing that people do that I find really, really weird is when their kid falls and either they pretend that they don't see them, which is like, I don't know, like if I fell as an adult and somebody pretended not to see me, that's just weird, right? Or they rush them through all their feelings. And I think a lot of well-meaning parents do that, right? Like, you're okay, instead of asking them, hey, you fell, are you okay? Like, you don't have to baby talk them. You don't have to like freak them out by being super concerned. You can just check in with them and ask them, because what that does is that gives them the space to check their own body, to figure out whether they are okay or they aren't okay. And we as parents need to stop being afraid of them crying, right? Like expressing that fear. Of course, we don't want them to feel fear, but that doesn't mean that they don't feel it. The best thing that we can do for them is to be there for them, with them, while they're feeling that fear. Like, oh yeah, I fell and it kind of really hurt. Or I feel embarrassed because I fell and there's a lot of people here. Like that's part of it. A lot of times parents think that because they pretended that they didn't see them and then the kid isn't crying, that means that that's better. But what that actually does is that kid did not feel safe to drop their guard and be vulnerable and cry. That doesn't mean that they processed every emotion that they had when they fell and they got hurt and mom and dad didn't see, right? So yeah, that's a really weird one to me. I think when we tell our kids that they're okay and they're not okay, they're also learning how to ignore how they feel. We're not giving them the right words to accurately articulate, what it is that they're feeling in their body. So I think a better approach would be to ask them how they feel, like you would an adult. If you saw an adult eat it, you'd go up to them and you'd be like, hey, are you okay? You fell. And then let them tell you how they feel. If they're not okay, it's like, okay, you want a hug? Like, you don't have to be that smothering helicopter parent, but at the same time, you should probably treat them the way that you would want to be treated if you fell. So, yeah, so those are the two things that I think a lot of parents accidentally or inadvertently do that disconnects a child from their gut. And if you want to fast forward to, teenage years, early adulthood, and beyond, I think we can all agree that we want our kid to be able to leave a situation the moment that they feel uncomfortable. But that requires them to understand that they feel uncomfortable. And if you, as their parent, someone that they naturally are born respecting and caring about your opinions, if you support them as they find the words for that when they're young, then when they're older, it'll be super easy for them to be like, yeah, I don't feel good, I'm exiting the situation, because you gave your permission when they were a child to do that. So, and then, if you don't, and you teach them how to repress these feelings because you yourself maybe don't understand how to trust your gut instinct, you've been disconnected from it for a very long time, then when they're adults, they're the ones who's going to see all the red flags and not know whether they have permission to leave or not. I think we've seen that a lot, friends and family, it's like, why didn't you just, they say, oh, I felt weird, but I didn't leave and I don't know why. And a lot of times it's because they're waiting for that permission that never came when they were kids. So give them that permission now, especially from 0 to 5. But if your kids are older, it's never, ever too late to start, right? Adults literally start their healing journeys at 30 and older just to find a way to give themselves permission for things that they wish their parents gave them permission for. And so if your kid is 8 or 9 or 10 or 15, it is not too late. Like, you can start now, and you can just, literally don't even need to have a conversation about it. You can just start. So if they look upset, you're not telling them, hey, why are you crying? Like, you should get over it, or it's not that big of a deal, or let's look on the bright side. It's more like a conversation that's like, hey, you look upset. Can you tell me why? And have them tell you how they feel. I hope that this is helpful. And if it was, then if you subscribe and share, I'd be so grateful. I also have an email list, francescadf.com/subscribe, where I share insights and tips on child safety and breaking generational cycles.